Hello everyone. So in today's session we are going to learn how we can control motor using joystick. So we are going to control our BO motor, that is our battery operated motor, using the joystick. So if you take a close look to the joystick, you will find that our joystick has your 5 pins. So out of these 5, the 2 pins are of your positive and negative, that is your VCC and ground. If you look at more closely, like here, you will see that the first 2 pins are your ground as well as your plus 5 volt, that is your positive. After that we have VRX, that is your X position, and for VRY, that is your Y position. Then we have SW. SW is for switch, like I can press it, so it is your SW pin, that is switch is like I'm clicking it or releasing it. Then we have like X and we have Y. So these are the two direction in which I can control the joystick, and I have a switch which I can use to on and off. Now let's find out how we can use the joystick to control the rotation of my motor. In our previous session we have seen how we can rotate the motor using our motor driver, that is our L29A10. So we have used this motor driver to rotate the shaft of my motor. So let's start by fetching the values from our joystick. So we will start that how we can fetch the values that we are getting from Vx or Vy, and we will see how we can use them. So let's start. So let's keep everything aside for now. Only let's use the joystick and our Arduino. Now we are going to use one more thing, that is our jumper wires to making the connection. So here I am using like male to female jumper wires to make the connection. So let's say I use positive negative to power it up. Then after that we have this VRX and VRY. Here I am using our VRY pin. Now let me reduce this one. So the switch is like simply it will be like binary, that is your like digital switch, that is it will be either on or off. So when I am pressing it will be either 0 or 1, and vice versa when I release it. That's the main important thing is our this VRX and VRY. So we are going to focusing on how to fetch the values from there. So as we can see that it is an analog value because it will give us some value between our lowest and our maximum, that is let's say from 0 to 100 it will be give us some value. So it is like your analog pin. So let's give it some power. So our ground is connected with this yellow color wire, so ground is connected to the ground. Then we have positive 5 volt, which is your orange color. Then we have this analog pin. So let me use it in A0. So this is my basic connection. Let me fix it in the surface so that we can easily. So here I have fixed it on the surface. Now let's start by writing some code. So start by defining the pins. Pin mode. Here we are using only a single pin, that is our analog. So it will be A0 comma input. Okay. After that let's also start a serial monitor so that we can see the values. Serial.begin, then the baud rate 9600. After that let's use a variable and Y, because we are fetching the value of Y, that is our analog read, and we are fetching the value of A0 pin. That's it. Now let's serial.print the value. So we are printing the value of your Y with a delay of, let's say we are not putting the delay. Now after doing that, let's connect our Arduino. After that we also need to turn on, let me upload the code and then turn on the our COM port. Okay, it is a previous value. Our code hasn't uploaded till now. So let us upload the code, and then after that we will see what are the values we are getting from our joysticks. Okay, so here you can see that we have uploaded the code, and like it is horizontally aligned because we haven't written ln. So let's write ln, and let's again upload the code. Now you can see that we have a value that is your 507. Let me arrange it a little bit. Okay. Now what you have to do, you have to just focus that how the values are being changing. Now as I have tilted towards the right hand side, it has a maximum value of 986. Now as I release it, 504, and here you can see it is 30. So it is the range of it is between 30 to 986. So we have a value. Now what we are going to do, we are going to use this value to rotate our motor. That is the speed. We are going to control the speed of our motor on the basis of this. So we, as we have already learned in our previous session, that our if we want to rotate our motor, if we want to control the motor, so we have to use the PWM pins, like here in the digital section. Let me show you. Okay, here you can see that we have some pins which have like wave-like structure, like if you see 3 number 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. So these are your PWM pins. So we are going to use these pins, so that instead of like 0, low or high, what we can do, we can give it a value that how much. So it will be like in the range of 0 to 255. But the value which we are getting, like from here, if you see, we are getting in the 30 to like 986 or 985. So we have to change this. So for that we already know how to do it, that is by using a map function. So we are going to use a map function to change this range to another one. So let's write what are the minimum maximum value. 986. Okay, so let's use a command to write it. Minimum value 986, maximum value minimum value is your 30, maximum value is your 986. Okay, before going to that, let's connect our circuit also, and then we will see how we can achieve that. So for that time, let me hide the COM port. Okay, let's see how we can create the circuit. Now what we have to do, we have to start by simply just connecting the 2 wires of my motor with any one of the side of my motor driver. So let me connect them. Okay, so as you can see, we have successfully connected the wires to my right hand side of the motor driver. Now what we have to do, we have to supply power. So we will give it a 12 volt as a ground. So 12 volt we will be connect with the V in pin and the ground with the ground pin. So let's connect them. Now I have connected the wire with the 12 volt and ground. Now let's connect them with the Arduino. So we are going to connect it with the V in, that is this first pin here. This is your V in pin. Let me zoom it a little bit. So if you see it carefully, you will find this pin over here is your V in pin. Let's zoom in. Here you can see below the power button you can find V in, then to ground. So we have connected the V in pin. After that we are going to connect the ground pin. Now after that, so here you can see the LED has been blue, means we have successfully connected the power supply. Now what we want to do, after that we are going to use 2 jumper wires to connect it with my Arduino. For that we are going to use some male to female wires. Now let me use we are going to use 6 and 7 number pin here. Okay, so this is my basic connection. So let me arrange it so that you can see everything. Okay, let me attach the wheel also so that we can see the movement. Okay, now what we want to do, let's go to our coding and let's use the map function. So after mapping the value, we are going to store it somewhere. So let's use a variable for that. Let's say motor rotation equals to map. Now which value I want to map? I want to map the value of your y, and the minimum maximum value is from 30 to 986. And what should be the minimum and maximum value in which I want to map? That is from 0 to 255. Now after that, let's see it using the our print command. So let's say I have a value of your y. So y will be your joystick value. So let's change it from y to joystick value, or let's say rename it as rotation value. So these are the two values that we have. Now let's print them. So first is your joystick value, and then I want to print the rotation value. Okay, let's run it and see what are the values that we get. After that, we are going to interface it or write the code for our pins of our motors, and then we are going to see it what are the values that we get. Okay, so the code has been successfully uploaded. Okay, there is something that we miss. We have also to add some gap in between also, otherwise they will be like a single digit, and that will be hard to understand or read. Let me upload it. Okay, the code has been uploaded. Let's see on the COM port. Okay, here you can see we have a value that is a 508 or 9, which is our joystick value. Now if I rotate it, here you can see it's maximum 255. If I just reduce it, you can see it is reducing, and if I turn it to opposite direction, minimum 30, and for that we have a value that is a 0. So it is between 0 to 255. Now let's rotate our motor also. Let me hide the COM port value. So we'll start by defining the pins of our motor using pin mode. The pins are, we have 6 and 7 number. 6, it is your output. Then we have 7, it is also your output. Now if you see that out of the 6 and 7, the 6th number pin we can control because it is your PWM pin. Okay, it has a wave-like structure. So what we are going to do, we are going to make the 7th number pin as low by default. So we can write digital write 7 comma low. Now start down. Let's say after printing all of this, what I want to do, I want to analog write. I want to write the pin. That's what.